What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Twin Talk. My name is Johnathan. I'm joined with my twin brother, Blake
As
Rydell.
always.
Yep, that's right. So, first of all, there's a few big news stories today, Blake, and I just kind of wanted to get to the first one. It's that Donald Trump is temporarily halting immigration into the United States to protect American workers going back into the workforce from COVID-19. Now, that's the explanation for this, at least. So I just want your opinion. Number one, what do you think it does just for the system as a whole, and do you think it does protect Americans?
I do think that it protects Americans. I do think that it's a relatively informed move because of all the fact. I mean, we have 20 million people who are now out of a job. So I think that it is a smart move. I, for personal reasons, hope that he doesn't halt all immigration for everybody. Just because of my fiance being from Honduras. I could see the other side on how this could affect people at the individual level that government necessarily doesn't understand or that they don't perceive. They don't understand that we're trying to live our best lives. She's trying to work hard in the medical field, by the way, which they say that they need a lot of workers for. But yet we're talking about halting immigration just because the coronavirus. So I can see both sides of this. Personally, I hope that it is some type of immigration, like farm workers or something like that. I'm hoping that it's not across the board, everybody, nobody gets a work permit, nobody gets to stay. I hope that that's not the case. But again, I do understand why this is happening, and I do support halting immigration temporarily. And by temporarily, I mean temporarily to kind of figure out what we got to do to clean up this mess.
I think that it's the complete opposite. I think that as long as we're bringing in high-skilled people who can obviously probably speak English or are very good at their job, those are the people that we should be leaving in regardless, because they want to be Americans as much and maybe more than the actual Americans that we have want to be Americans.
Which is true.
I think that these people are highly skilled, they're highly qualified, and I think that they would do a great service for the country to actually stay here. So to answer that question, it gets tricky. Are we going to bring in a computer scientist, or are we going to let him go somewhere else because he's a brilliant mind, but dang it, COVID-19 and Donald Trump signed an executive order. I'd rather have the best and brightest. Like Donald Trump has said himself, the best and brightest are really the true American spirit. They're the ones that deserve to be Americans. They're the ones that deserve to be in this country. So I don't think that we should halt immigration in that form. Now, you know what I do think we should halt is illegal immigration. How about benefits to people who came into our country illegally? Those should constantly be halted. Because you come into our country, you pay no taxes, you get paid under the table. All of a sudden, you might be making more than you and I because you haven't paid a freaking thing in taxes. And now all of a sudden, you just expect to get more benefits and or to suddenly assimilate into the country. Well, I just don't see that being a viable option. So that is where I think the crackdown needs to remain strong. I know that it has been. But that is what we need to focus on, is illegal immigration. Not legal. The people who come here on visas and come here to get their education, these are amazing people that will be highly qualified basically to the end of time. Like, even you can go back into movie examples. There were Jewish doctors and stuff that ran from Nazi Germany to come over to New York. We didn't say, well, there could be World War II coming, so we're going to halt
letting
immigration.
anybody in.
Right? So there's just a fine line between all this. Illegal immigration, as bad as it is, because I know a lot of people are still trying to follow the American dream. Do it the legal way, do it the correct way, and live by everyone else's laws. That's what I think needs to happen.
It needs to be individual, case-by-case basis. And they already do that with immigration. So that's my question. Why are we halting it now? Were we not vetting people correctly to begin with? Is this something that maybe the United States has been slacking on for a long, long time? It's incorrect to what the proposal is, just to not allow anybody into the country. Now, I beg to think that there will be guidelines that he'll put out probably later today, saying that we're halting immigration for farm workers or farm hands, or we're halting immigration for these type of workers. But saying that you can't immigrate at all, that would cause a lot of international students to go away. Like you said, a lot of highly talented people to go away. So I believe that this won't affect those highly qualified people, maybe people with a bachelor's degree or master's degree. And so to me, I think you hit it right on the head. Illegal immigration is illegal. It should always be illegal. We should always enforce this. There should always be a halt on illegal immigration. You shouldn't be able to come over with no paperwork. It's just and to kind of add on to that point, there's benefits being paid to these illegal immigrants in California.
That's what I was just going to say, is imagine this.
Why?
We're here talking about halting the entire immigration system. That might be highly qualified or not, I don't know. But the highly qualified people on visas and stuff, they're paying their taxes, they're paying their dues, they're trying to become Americans. And here we are having illegal immigrants,
Right.
in taking state tax dollars, right? So we're talking like $500 million from the state of California. Now that's great. The only issue I have with it is that California doesn't have their own dollar. These are American dollars that we're sending to people who aren't American.
And we're sending it to people who came in illegally, who broke the law, and in a lot of cases continue to break the law. And that's not coming out of a hatred for immigration. No, because I know immigrants of first-hand knowledge. I mean, my fiance is an immigrant.
A lot of our friends in high school
A lot
were
of friends were dreamers.
You know, like
people from all over, from Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala. I grew up with all these people. It's not a hate for them. It's a hate for our own system, and we need to clean it up. And so to kind of say, to agree with you, we're giving illegal people benefits that the legal people aren't entitled to receive. And I know firsthand, trust me.
Imagine if California was 500 million or whatever the number is. We'll have to look that up. But I'm pretty sure it's somewhere
I think it's
there.
a little smaller, but we'll see.
Whatever it ends up being. It could be $1 for all I care.
$1 too much.
Yes, exactly. Imagine if that went to the Paycheck Protection Program. Imagine that if that was a part of the SBA funds. We wouldn't have to be talking about, oh, well, okay, now we have to pass another package with Nancy Pelosi and all that fun stuff. That wouldn't be happening right now. So,
and unfortunately, the illegals that do come over actually do play an important part in society because of the fact that we allow them. We don't, background check. We hire them for below minimum wage to work in the fields, and it's helped America a lot. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm hating on their line of work or whatever. They are still very important to America.
They're the heart of America. We're the breadbasket of the world.
We just need to clean up our system. There's no way around it. If we want to stop illegal immigration, we have the power to stop illegal immigration. But ultimately, I think you tie this back to Nancy Pelosi, you tie this back to Chuck Schumer, and everybody who said back in the day that they were for a strong border. They've completely flip-flopped. And why is that? Because they want votes. Because they want the votes from the urban areas, which comprise all of the sanctuary cities.
By the way, can I just throw in a little thing? This doesn't have much to do with immigration as much as just, again, the legality of what these people do sometimes. For the most of them, they're good. But there's the convict, there's the rapist that will go and kill your wife or rape your daughter. And I'm not trying to say that to be a fearmonger. We're just talking facts now. There are people out there that will do that are illegal immigrants. And then what happens? Oh, they go to jail for 60 days and then we have to release them because they're not our citizen.
Right.
Imagine your daughter being taken advantage of and we can't keep them because we're not going to house someone who's an illegal immigrant. Imagine if I went to France and did that, or if I went to Mexico and did that. Do you think that you're just getting a free pass? No. Why is it that the law falls harder on Americans who do the same crimes than non-Americans? It should, a matter of fact, it should be worse for non-Americans because they don't have any American rights.
Do you remember?
That is something that's disgusting. If you're going to talk about Kate Steinle,
I was going to say, do you remember even before that, Sergeant Tamaruski I don't know if I pronounced it right, but he was a former military sergeant who illegally crossed the border into Mexico. Nobody really knows his true motives, whether he was selling guns, whether he was just going on a trip. But
no one knows.
He ended up having stuff in the back of his truck that was illegal in Mexico, and they sent him to jail. And he claims that he made a wrong turn, which I know Fox News and CNN took cars over there, and they actually drove on the same road, and they said, yeah, it kind of makes sense that you could take the wrong turn here, which, by the way, is completely moronic. The fact that you have an open border to the point where somebody can drive through illegally.
Stupid.
Completely moronic. But to kind of say, to add on to my point here, he was in prison, in a Mexican prison, for months.
Yeah.
He was in solitary confinement, and a lot of people say that he was beat up in prison, not by the Mexican people who were in there with him, but by the guards. Why is there such a double standard that illegal immigrants, they get arrested, they get caught and released? We hear catch and release.
Yeah, imagine that.
Catch and release. We're going to catch them, we're going to put them back out on the streets, and we expect them to show back up for their court date. Which, by the way, only 3% do. You know what I think? We should give the 3% that show back up to their court date. Just give them a citizenship right there.
At least they have respect for our country.
Yeah. Opposed to the 97% that just goes out and runs wild and does illegal jobs.
And again, we're not saying that that everyone who's immigrating is evil. Like 99.999% are great people. We should find a way to help them become citizens. Right. Now, with the halt, it's temporary, and I think it is to protect the American worker, because if we have more people coming in from other countries taking jobs, well, then the Americans who lost theirs are never going to get theirs back. Right? So that is important. But the last thing I'll say is we're a sovereign nation. Sovereign nations run with laws. And whenever we have laws that discriminate towards our own citizens and help illegal immigrants who are not citizens, who have no citizenship rights really, that is a point where I think it's scary, where they could literally do a crime, go to jail, and they're released. That's disgusting, it's sick, and it needs to be changed, and for all that it matters, I hope that someone out here is listening that has power to do that, because this is a disgrace to our nation and to our laws, and really a slap in the face to every American.
Yeah, and it all starts local. Make sure you vote for the person who stands for what you stand for locally.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that it starts at that level.
Sanctuary cities.
Yes, it's sanctuary cities. So it does matter who you vote for your city representative.
Speaking of representatives, obviously in the news right now has been Kim Jong-un, the representative for North Korea, the dictator.
Yeah.
He's, 36 years
36.
old? He's 36 years old, and now there are reports that he's in critical condition after a cardiovascular procedure. So, Blake, going off of what we were talking about with years ago, even on our radio show, what do you think is happening over there? Do you think that this is natural or normal? Do you think it's maybe because of his health conditions? And since it is so secretive, do you think that this is good or bad for America? Because a lot of people, if he were to pass away, would kind of cheer almost the fact that his dictatorship's gone, but who comes next?
I actually think that this is bad. And I say that because when dictators get sick, they become unhinged. And if you look at Adolf Hitler, when towards the end of the World War II, he became sick and he became unhinged and he became a danger to everybody. And I personally believe that with Kim Jong-un being sick, I don't think that that's a good thing for America, because who knows what he's willing to try or willing to do. To stay in power, first of all, potentially. Second off, to create a legacy for himself. And that could be hurting the United States, or sending a missile towards the United States, or to Guam, or to Hawaii, or any of our territories in the Pacific. Do I know if they're there or not with the nuclear capabilities? No, we don't know. America doesn't know. A lot of their testing is secretive and everything like that. Now, I, for the longest time, thought that we were making progress with North Korea, with President Trump being one of the first Americans to step foot in North Korea with obviously being allowed to do it with Kim Jong-un there and Kim Jong-un coming into South Korea. I thought that was a great moment in history. I thought that we would move forward with diplomacy and ultimately have North Korea maybe change some of its ways. But we had Trump talk about hotels and resorts that could be there and how they could become a vibrant economy. But they haven't. And Kim Jong-un recently in December said that he wanted to send us a Christmas present towards us, which is a nuclear warhead or ICBM,
intercontinental ballistic.
Yeah, I can't say. I always get caught up.
It's all right.
But I really thought that he was going to change, but he hasn't, and he's become more unhinged. And I don't know what will happen, and especially for the people of North Korea. You would imagine that things couldn't get any worse.
Yeah.
But it could get worse because there's going to be a power struggle between Kim Jong-un's sister and potentially the party leader over there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really hope that he's able to recover and come to his senses, and I hope that we can continue the route of diplomacy which we were taking before December.
I think everything you said is right, so I'm not going to rehash that. I want to go to another point about this, and that's that this could, in a weird way, benefit the United States, because I think every time someone is struggling, that there's a way that you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. So, number one, if he does recover and survive, and this isn't as big of a deal as it is, I think that it would be good, maybe he can kind of see how precious and fragile life is. That's a very emotional thing. That's probably not something that is a main point of this. But maybe he will reconsider what he's done with his life, which hasn't left a good legacy. He's literally sent a missile at his uncle tied to a stake. So he's not a great guy. Now, maybe taking him to the edge will show him how life is actually important. Second of all, I think that this could benefit the United States by us finding a way to somehow help him. Do we send over the best doctors from the United States to go over and help him? Do we send over some type of gift or recovery item that will help him recover? And does this make us look more civil? Does it make it look like we believe that he is a legitimate leader of North Korea? And therefore maybe he'll treat us with more respect and stop threatening us with Christmas presents? I don't know. But I do know that if diplomacy is something that we're still trying to work towards, and we're not trying to just completely go into fallout over on that part of the planet, I think that we have to be very very careful with the way we treat him, because if he is in a fragile state and we would help build him back up, that could possibly bode well, not for the North Korean citizens, obviously that would suck for them, but it would bode well for our relationship with them going forward, regardless who's president. Trump for 4 more years, well, they've got a good connection, it seems. And if it's Biden, if it's someone else, I think they're going to try to go with the historical trend and try to be friends.
I don't necessarily believe that North Koreans are ready for a change, as strange as that may sound. You don't know if it's ever legitimate, but we've known people, our family has known people who have went over to South Korea and attempted to help a lot of North Koreans, and they do let some doctors over to perform medical emergency type of surgeries. And there's a lot of missionaries that we know who have went in or close to North Korea, or they take the people from North Korea over into South Korea into like a neutral area and have performed eye surgery for them. A lot of people were going blind due to starvation and
a lot of different things.
And they actually, after they have their eye procedure, they don't bow and thank God. They bow and thank their God, which is Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il. There is a religious
following of them.
Mm-hmm. They are the religious deity. They were born on the mountain, the prominent mountain up there, and taken down due to whatever the case is.
North Korean mythology.
Yeah, it really is North Korean mythology. And so I don't know if they're ready for a change. Do they completely believe that Kim Jong-un is God? I don't believe so, but I think they might be scared to revolt, and maybe it makes sense because they're so savage towards other leaders of their country.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I think just when you're trying to preserve life, you would always hope that someone is going to pull through and change.
Yeah.
But obviously, you don't want that's like saying, oh well, let's hope that Hitler recovers from heart surgery. I'm not comparing him to Hitler. They're still slightly,
they're still on a different playing field.
But we're dealing with an awful dictator. Yeah. So I'm not saying that like I'm wishing that he's just gonna like come back and be all rosy and happy.
No.
I'm hoping that he does recover and that he can change the direction of his country and the direction and the way that he was leading.
Because we've made headway with
we have, and I don't want to start new with some military jerk over there that thinks that he can seriously take over the U.S. First of all, that probably won't happen, but second of all, we don't want to test that out. So that's my 2 cents on it, and I hope that.
They don't even have a chance with South Korea.
Well, yeah, although they can launch a lot of missiles right in Seoul.
Which wouldn't be good. Anyway.
That would be tough. But speaking of military conflicts, I saw on Twitter last night that there's an Adam Driver is canceled party. Hashtag Adam Driver is canceled. Which, first of all, is crazy because Hollywood is turning on their own now. The guy who was so cool to, be on the Jimmy Kimmel show and to meet Ben Affleck's son at his birthday party.
Yeah.
The guy that was literally like, liberals were kissing his feet like, oh, this guy is amazing. Now all of a sudden he's canceled, and here's why, and I wanted to get it up on my phone, I'll put it on the screen. But it's because people are now saying that since he joined the military after the 9/11 attacks 20 years ago, that he was racist because he hates brown people and Muslims, and that's the reason why he signed up, is to go fight and kill these people. So I will say that I think there was a very fueled effort for the United States to go retaliate, but I don't think it was against a specific race or culture necessarily. And there's actually a quote that I'll also put up. He said that he wasn't sure what or whom he was going to fight against. He said, it wasn't against Muslims. We were attacked. I wanted to fight for my country against whoever this is. And that was in the New Yorker several years ago. So with that being said, my question to you is this normal to, first of all, make fun of someone and cancel them for military service?
Normal. No, it's bizarre. Military men and women are the heroes of our country. They're the reason why we have the freedoms to agree to disagree. They're the reason why we live the beautiful life that we live. And they're the reason why our country is safe and that we haven't been invaded by foreign nationals. Mm-hmm. Okay? This is ridiculous. This man deserves praise for leaving his comfortable life to go fight in the military. A lot of people leave comfortable lives in America. Regardless of the state that you're in, you're living pretty comfortable compared to the rest of the planet. Mm-hmm. Okay? You go, you join the military, and you fight. And you're not only are you willing to bleed and hurt, not only are you willing to social distance. We hear about social distancing and how hard it is from these Hollywood celebrities. Well, imagine social distancing for a tour or two in Iraq, right?
Yeah, not as fun.
Not as fun. And then, on top of it all, you're willing to die for your country because you love your country and you love your fellow countrymen enough to lay down your life next to your brothers and sisters in combat.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous that the mainstream media, that the liberal media, has held this against people because they were fighting brown or Muslims. Yeah. Brown people or Muslims.
And this is something on Twitter. It's not like, CNN was like, hey, we hate Adam Driver. Like, that's not...
But who do you think is what channel are they watching? Are they watching Fox News or are they watching CNN?
They're probably watching the liberal CNN.
They're watching the fake news network.
Yeah.
Listen. Adam Driver should be commended. He's a great guy personally. He shows up to help people a lot. He deserves all the respect that he can get. Mm-hmm. Because he was in the military is a plus for him. And I love Adam Driver. Keep watching his movies.
I was going to say, I think that it's really the stage that he's taken as kind of a fair-minded, equal opportunity, good guy is something that's unique. Like, he is friends with a lot of liberals in Hollywood. He might be conservative himself, but either way you cut it, he, I don't think he discriminates against people. So if he was like some conservative and bashing liberals all the time, I would understand like, well, you know what? Fine, we'll pull up something about his past and try to make it seem like he's racist. But this is a good guy. He's been keeping quiet, and he was an amazing character and one of the few bright spots in all of the Star Wars,
Sequels.
7, 8, and 9. So to do this to him is dirty and disrespectful. Also, to fight for your country is not racist. Say it to the millions of Muslims around the world, really in our country, that would go fight for our country if need be. Say that to them. Say that to all the African American people in our military. I know a few veterans who are African American. Say that to the average person in the military, regardless of what color they are. Fighting in the military is not racist. It's a service, and it's a great sacrifice for our country. So again, like you said, he should be commended, and I think that that's one of the coolest features about him. Usually when you look at actors, it's Leo DiCaprio, the green guy. He wants to go fly across the world and preach green awareness.
He's a hero.
And again, like, he might be a hero to you. He might be on a noble cause. If global warming, if you believe it's real, then congratulations, he's good for you. But Adam Driver is the rare person where he's not just a green freak. He wore green in the military, and I think he should be commended for that. Again, it's a sacrifice. And to think where he came from, to think that guy was trying to go on tour, and all of a sudden, here he is acting, is really cool. And just to go in, like, I think he did try to go serve a few tours and stuff. He had some medical issues on, that's why he was eventually discharged. But a great story.
Right. And I will say the military members on tour are more valuable to me than the band members who are on tour. So, I think this represents something even deeper. And the deeper problem is the triggered culture that we have on Twitter. This is trending on Twitter, by the way. Mm-hmm. That means that there's a lot of people who agree with this. And this is the same people who said, fire Dr. Phil because of his remarks on wanting to open the country back up. To me, obviously, it means that they must be unemployed, they must want government assistance, and they must want to never go back to work again. So, to me, these people are ridiculous, and if you're one of those people and you just so happen to come across us, you are despicable. You need to go check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah, and I was looking down, but I was just on my phone just to verify. Yes, he served for 2 years and 8 months before dislocating his sternum. So, anyways, either way you cut it, his act of wanting to serve the country is, I think, brilliant. I think a great part of who he is and a great part of his story, just to go show that you can do anything, especially after you're in the military. Like, you don't have to struggle with every piece of what you went through, and a lot of people do, but maybe they look at him and say, wow, he was in Star Wars after his military service. That's something that is really unique. So, I don't know, I think that's cool. By the way, for you guys who want to talk to us, if you are one of those followers that Blake was talking about, feel free to email us at talktotwintalk@gmail.com.
Yep.
We're also at Twin Talking on Facebook, and we are also Twin Talk on there as well. Then you can also go to, what's our Instagram, Blakey?
The Twin Talk Show.
The Twin Talk Show. And there we only have a few followers, so we're working on that.
Follow us, please.
We're under construction, right?
And then our Twitter is Twin Talk Tweets. It's a tongue twister. I mess it up every time.
Twin Talk Tweets. Twin Talk Tweets. That was pretty fast.
Yeah,
that was good.
There you go.
So, anyways, feel free to follow us. Let us know how you think we did, and let us know what you want to hear more about. We're obviously here to not only just talk and blab for ourselves, but to try to actually reach a common point of thought with you guys. So we're super excited for that.
Yep.
And we're super thankful that you guys watched today. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll have another episode out, and we can't wait until then. So, all right, guys, have a good one.